What's happening, Weekend Warriors? Welcome into another episode of the Weekendology Podcast. This is the only podcast with the hottest takes, the best talking points, and the stories to spark your weekend conversations. So if you're looking for the latest and greatest from a variety of topics like music, movies, sports, food, and more, then you've come to the right place. So let's get it started. I'm your host, Will Deishley, alongside my partner in crime, Aaron Berg. Aaron, what's up?
Oh, quarantining up still.
Quarantining it up, yeah. It is day 439, it feels like.
I know, I was thinking the other day, what week are we on?
I don't know, like
because we're past
7?
a month now.
We've got to be at least week 6, week 7 or something like that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Lose track of the days.
All the days blur together, I'm telling you. Like, this week has gone by so fast, but yet so slow at the same time that I don't even know what's happening. Yeah. So,
have you found like anything new to do, or have you just been doing the same thing the past couple weeks?
Same stuff, just working out as much as I can. However, I'm trying to muster up some motivation to
do anything,
start the day.
To get off the couch or bed.
Yeah, go for a walk after work. Just got back from my walk and then eat dinner, watch Netflix, do the whole thing over again. So it's
exactly my schedule.
And then that's exactly what I do on the weekend. So
that's why I love all these people who are like, oh, I'm going to find a new hobby. And I told myself this too. I'm like, oh, I'm going to learn something new and blah, blah, blah. You never do it.
Nope. No.
You get too much time in your hands.
I say that I'm going to do that, and I'm like,
it sounds good.
Didn't get to do it. So.
And then you're like, wow, I have a lot more time to do absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
I'll just do that.
It gives you you take stock of how much time you have to do nothing, and you realize that I've been wasting all of my time, and now I'm still wasting all of my time. Just I feel more guilty about it.
I only had more time, and then you get more time.
Exactly.
You don't need the time.
There's never enough time. So, I want to thank all of our returning listeners for joining us again this week. And if you're new to the show, welcome. The show is all about changing, improving, and making things better as we cover all the best topics from around the pop culture and the sports world. This episode is a production in collaboration with Colin Kessler and the Big Red World. They have popular podcasts like House That Rick Built and Six Drunk, One Sober. So check them out. They're on Twitter at Big Red Social, and their website is bigredworld.org.
Yeah, they had a 3-hour episode, the last one that came out with Chris Sloan.
3-hour episode?
Yeah, that was a marathon.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like crime and sports level right
I know.
there.
I was shocked. That's Joe Rogan level.
Yeah, I got to break that up into like 5 different days then or something.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
My max is like 35, 40 minutes, and then I start getting bored for podcasts, maybe a little bit, maybe like an hour. And then I'm like, well, I don't have enough time to listen to it all in this one sitting. So
right.
3 hours.
It takes like 3 or 4 commutes to get through. And
yeah, that's going to, I usually just listen to podcasts like when I'm getting ready for work or, I don't know, cooking dinner or something. So I'll be cooking a lot then, I guess, to get through that one. So
yeah.
But yeah, go check them out. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter as well. We're on Weekendology Pod and wherever you listen to podcasts. Drop us a line, show us your support, maybe suggest some ideas on things you want to see changed in the world. We'll do an episode on them. Don't forget to browse our last couple episodes of our mini-series in the changes post-pandemic. We cover changes in sports, social interaction, businesses, and more. So go check those out because those are some of my favorite episodes I think we've done so far.
Yeah, they're interesting, and it's like I said before, it's cool to see things we proposed and then start to see it happen. So we got some of them right.
It's almost like we're predicting the future because some of the things we've said have come to light.
We're just two Nostradamuses.
Exactly. Yeah. We should have predicted that the world was not going to end in 2012. So
yeah, he got that one wrong.
Oh, yeah.
He gets a little too much credit for.
Mayan calendar can't do everything correctly. So
well, specifically Nostradamus, though, they give him too much credit for predicting things, but his biggest prediction he got wrong. So
just hire Weekendology to do your predictions, and we'll get it done for you. So
we're basically like those fortune tellers that you see in a strip mall that read palms. There you go.
Just stealing people's money. Then
open up our own business.
Yeah. Speaking of taking some money, we have our first sponsorship of the.
Speaking of taking some money,
we have our first sponsorship of the entire podcast here.
That's how we pose our sponsorship meetings.
Exactly.
Hey, we're here to take your money.
We're going to take your money, but you're going to want to give it to us. So.
You'll be glad you did.
This episode is sponsored by Lionfish Promotions. If you or your business would like some cool swag to give out to employees, clients, or even build the brand of your business, Lionfish Promotions has you covered. They offer literally every kind of item from pens to notebooks to cups, mugs, t-shirts, and more to be branded with your own personal logo. So literally anything you can think of, Lionfish Promotions can put your logo on it. Especially now with like the whole coronavirus thing, there's a large quantity of PPE items still out of stock. So Lionfish Promotions is working with companies in the U.S. To ship masks, gloves, and more to those in need, to first responders as well. So it's for a good cause. They're putting out a good initiative for it too. They have a 24-hour ship time. So if your company needs any kind of PPE products or promotional gear, check out Lionfish Promotions. Their website is lionfishpromotions.com, or you can call 612-730-7050 to get a special quote on pricing. And we'll link all the details below in the description so you can go check them out too. So
Minnesota represent.
Yeah, I knew you would somehow figure that was a Minnesota area code. So
it's downtown Minneapolis.
Is it?
It is.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So yeah, give Aaron's home state, some support and support some local businesses around there.
MINNESOTA.
All right, there you go. Now we know how to spell Minnesota. So
you learn something new every day here.
But yeah, go check them out. I think I really believe in what they're doing, and they've got some good stuff over there, and you can get it for pretty cheap too. So call
That's
now.
Always good.
Yeah,
this economy.
In this economy, yes, in this economy, Aaron. Speaking of this economy, this has been kind of a strange time for it, and it's been a strange year so far. I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking today. I saw a tweet. And someone was like, wow, this is like 2012 all over again. And it's funny because, my memories of, and I'm sure yours too, my memories of 2012 are really good because, we were in college and I just remember fun stuff, But 2012 was a weird year.
2012 was strange. And
I remember
there were 2 world-ending predictions in like December, and then there was like in May at the end of that year.
Well, and the whole Coney 2012. Mm-hmm. It was also an election year, so funny.
Everything weird happens during an election year.
Was that H1N1 then? I get them mixed up.
No,
one of the
that was more like
sicknesses.
2010, I think. Maybe there was an outbreak.
There was some outbreak.
Yeah,
Zika. One of them.
I think it was Zika actually during that time.
Yeah. They all run together for me.
2020 has just been a weird year, and like World War III almost happened earlier this year, if you remember that. People were afraid they were going to get drafted, and then like World War III was going to start.
Well, now Kim Jong-un might be dead.
Yeah,
we don't
Kim
know.
Jong-un's dead. We had Kobe passing away. We've had some weird global warming, brush fires, volcanic eruptions.
Yeah, Australia was on fire.
Literally like on fire.
You can see it from space.
And most recently, obviously, a global pandemic on our hands. All major sports leagues are canceled, shut down of epic proportions across the board. So it is it's only April too, so
yeah.
I love the memes that I see on like Twitter or Facebook, and they're like it's like of The Simpsons, and Bart's like, oh, this is the worst month of my life, and Homer's like, this is the worst month of your life so far.
It's true.
Or there's one of Chris Paul, and he's talking like, just like stuff went to bad really fast here, and it's like, how did 2020 turn?
That's basically like Chris Paul's career.
Well, yeah,
like, oh, it's great.
Slow down.
I'm on the Hornets, and I can just lob it up to Tyson Chandler, and then all of a sudden it's like just slowly.
Yeah, then he was on like the big, he
goes to Lob City. I think everything's good. No, it didn't pan out. Then he goes to Houston. Like, think everything's good with Harden. They still lose.
Now he has.
Then he gets traded,
and there's nobody on Oklahoma.
Then he wants to get traded out of Oklahoma, and they tell him no, and he still has to play through that.
That sucks.
Then his season gets canceled.
Well, there you go. So you could be worse. You could be living Chris Paul's career.
It was Chris Paul.
It would be Chris Paul. There you go. So, but some really weird things have come out. This is more of like a what's trending episode. Not really covering like a typical topic we'd like to see changed. We'll have probably return to that next week.
Nothing is changing.
Nothing is changing. At least not right now. If things couldn't get any weirder, though, in the midst of all the chaos and pandemic chaos that's going on, the Pentagon goes ahead and casually drops some weird footage of supposed alien activity, which has blown up social media and Twitter. And have you get a chance to look at some of this stuff?
Yeah, I seen it. I've seen it.
I've seen
it on that Twitter
on the
thing.
Twitter news thing.
I saw it on Twitter. Just like little bits and pieces, and I've seen videos like that before. So whenever I see them. I'm not like, ooh, I gotta watch this. But then the more I see it, like everyone else,
these
I gotta
videos,
look into it more.
They're not new. Like they were released like
one was from 2004.
Yeah, like 13 years ago. So it's like,
I think the newest one was 2015.
Yeah, 2015.
Yeah, it's still.
So they're not new
old.
things, and I've seen them on YouTube channels and stuff, like the conspiracy channels, and like, oh, aliens.
Well, and if you click on one, you'll see all the comments, and there's more videos people are posting.
Yeah.
So there's so many that it's kind of like, all right, yeah.
But
again.
It's blowing up. Like regular news coverages are doing it. Obviously, Fox News did it, which I doubt their credibility anyway. But like a lot of other podcasts are picking it up. Different news sources are doing it. Like Daily Mail did it. Washington Post did a thing on it too, so it's
because the Pentagon finally acknowledged it.
Yeah, so the 3 videos that show what the pilot saw during these flights are 2004, 2015, according to New York Times. 2 Navy fighter pilots found like an oblong object hovering above the water. It then quickly flew away. Quote, "It accelerated like nothing I've ever seen," one of the pilots, Commander David Fravor, told the New York Times. Fravor, yeah.
Can you do me a favor?
I knew you were going to go there. And then the one in 2015 shows objects moving quickly through the sky, one of them seeming to spin in the air. It's rotating, so to speak. So, like, I don't know. I would say that, it's possible.
What's your stance here on aliens and UFOs and all that?
I would say I believe in them just because I think the universe is too big and vast and infinite to not have life in other areas. But again, who knows?
So are these? No. You got to stand by your decision here.
Well, I'll stand by it. I mean, I don't know if these particular ones are.
Can't say I believe in them, but who knows?
I mean, supposedly, like the way they were moving and the speed.
What do you think these are, though?
I mean, they could be UFOs or alien spacecrafts, but
I just can't. I can't get on board.
Can't get on board for aliens.
I want to. It's fun, but I just can't. Well, first of all, they're 2 separate topics. I think like aliens and UFOs.
No, aliens go hand in hand with UFOs.
They can
unidentified flying objects.
They can, but I think 99. No, I'm gonna say 100% of the time, because I don't believe in aliens. So.
Okay.
But
you're a non-believer.
I'm a
Aaron.
Non-believer. Yep.
Shun the non-believer.
I'm an infidel.
You said it, not me. So.
What? That's what it means.
I mean, yeah. I would say it's too the universe is too big for it to not to exist in some capacity.
But I think for UFOs, there's so much going on in other militaries, and I know this has been is a beating a dead horse here. I know a lot of people have said this, but I really think that's the point. It's supposed to be. We don't know. We've never seen it. I mean, that's what Area 51 was. It's all these tests that the military is doing that are so top secret. And, so who knows? Maybe it's some European country that we wouldn't even anticipate fighting. Maybe it's Switzerland, who doesn't want...
Switzerland has highly advanced aircrafts in the air. Just
why not?
Zooming all around.
Because...
Damn Swiss.
Yeah, think about it. Like,
I don't think
French.
it's the Switzerland. The French, yeah, they just run away.
So. But that's what they want you to think. This is the thing. See,
okay.
You want me to get on the
right.
conspiracy theory train? I'll get
Put
on
your
it.
tinfoil hats on.
It's on for me, man, for this part, because I think these countries, everyone wants to go, oh, it's North Korea, or oh, it's Russia, it's China. We know those countries are planning things or doing those things, but these really crazy looking spaceships and drones and all those things, why wouldn't it be these countries that they're keeping it because they don't want anyone to know what they're doing military wise?
I don't know, man.
Maybe they're testing way out their stuff because they're not going to be the first ones in to fight, so they're testing stuff where, okay, if push comes to shove and it's a true world war and these countries that never get involved have to get involved, now they're on top because they have these crazy...
If it's a world war, I'm drafting the aliens on my team, so I'll take the alien spacecraft.
The reason why I don't believe in aliens is because it's the same reason I don't believe in Bigfoot. We would have seen something by
What
now.
about statistically though? The universe is infinite in its nature, so why can't there be other forms of intelligent life out there? Because we barely scratched the surface of any space travel. So
because I think
statistically it would make sense.
I think we would have seen We would have seen one crash, and we'd have found alien bodies in the ship by now.
What if we have, and the government's just trying to...
They're hiding it.
They're hiding it.
It's a cover-up.
Did you show up at Area 51 back in September of last year to,
I missed
to
that
raid
one.
Area 51?
It was too early in the morning for me.
You missed that, so...
Yeah. They would have done it in the afternoon.
I don't know. I mean, I stand by, like, my belief in them. I don't know if these videos
I stand by my belief, but I say, who knows afterwards.
Because there's so many of these, there's so many of these videos out there. It's like, well...
It is creepy.
I don't know why they would, like... why is it like filmed on a potato camera all the time, or like the worst video quality ever? So
that's what's interesting about it.
I think they're out there. I just don't think that they're really touring the
I just feel
Earth
like
globe.
these ships and like how infrequent they are and how weird they look. I think they're tests, and I don't think anyone's piloting it. I don't think there's anyone inside the ships. I think
that's a pretty high level tech to be an unmanned aerial vehicle that's moving that quick, though. Because
military can do crazy things.
They said that the way that it was moving against the wind, which was the wind was going like 120 miles an hour against it. It was going pretty quick against it too.
But look at like the Air Force's aircraft. I mean, some of those planes.
But even like the U.S. doesn't even have any aircrafts that can rotate the way that
you know about that they haven't announced.
Yeah, that I
mean,
know about, but
that's like the.
But even like back in 2004,
it's like the Blackbird. Or is that the one that black jet?
The Blackbird.
Yeah, and it like doesn't make noise, or it's really quiet.
Yeah, it's like a silent stealth one.
No one would have thought that existed.
Oh,
I mean, there's things like that where I just think like they keep under wraps for so long, and then eventually this stuff gets out that they're testing.
I think anything's possible, so I don't know. Let us know. Maybe if you think aliens are real. This is probably the weirdest topic we've covered on the podcast so far.
It's hard for me to believe, though. Number one, why would the government be so like? To me, their whole like cover up stuff. Would be because
why
it's
release
military.
the footage now? Like, I think it's more of like a distraction from the pandemic stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, by the way, we have this.
We're doing a crappy job of the pandemic response. So here's some aliens, and people are like, "Oh hell yeah, I'll gobble that stuff up." So people love aliens and all that kind of weird stuff.
It's fun.
So,
Shout out to Tom DeLonge, by the way.
What did he do? He an alien?
No, he's...
Oh, I knew he was an alien.
That's why I got out of blank.
There you go.
No, he's the one who kind of got this out because he's been pushing the Navy and the government and the Pentagon for years.
Wow.
Yeah, and pushing, and they finally were like, okay, fine, here.
One-man army for Tom DeLonge.
They're giving him the credit that that's why they released it, because he kept bugging them.
Well, there you go. Good job, Tom DeLonge.
Yeah.
Sparking conspiracy theories to... moving into a little bit more of a fact-based theory.
Yeah, so maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe Tom DeLonge's right.
He's
you're
a true
right,
believer. So
I'm just stupid.
Well, something that's a little bit more kind of down to earth is like that transition there. That was great.
Love it.
I gotta pat myself on the back for that one. A bit more of a normal side, though, is the highly anticipated and talked about documentary of the 1990s Chicago Bulls, The Last Dance.
So good.
Twitter is blowing up about this. All of the sports world is
on the
crazy.
Weekends. It's just like that's
all I look forward to now.
Well, it's like all pandemic stuff, and then the weekends, it's all bull stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. You can tell when it's on, because then everyone's talking about Michael Jordan randomly, and you're like, okay, this is on now.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with it, it's a documentary. The Bulls were looking to do their second three-peat of championships in a row. There's a big controversy about the Bulls GM, Jerry Krause, kind of breaking up the team. So Coach Phil Jackson called the 97-98 season the last dance. Because it was the last time any of like Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, Jackson was ever going to play together.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal documentary, and I think it's gotten so much praise because it's been marketed as more of like a big budget Hollywood film than it has just like any other kind of normal documentary.
Yeah, it's different from like the typical 30 for 30s.
Yeah, and it's like it's a 10-part series too, so it's not like you watched a 2-hour documentary and it's over with. It's it's 10 episodes, so you've literally got something to look forward to for 5-6 weeks.
It has to win an Emmy.
Oh, I think it will.
It's so good.
It's incredible, and it gives unprecedented access to the behind the scenes for all the Bulls in that season, and they do really deep interviews with Jordan. And
I just am amazed by that foresight that they said, "Hey, we're going to film every single thing." And it's funny because a lot of I've watched see the Dwayne Wade documentary on ESPN.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like he filmed the first, I want to say 10 years of his career.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That's amazing foresight, but the Bulls one is even more so because video wasn't big. The internet wasn't big.
Yeah.
So it's amazing that they said, hey, we're going to film every little bit of this and make a movie out of this.
I don't know if they made a documentary of that footage at the time too and released it afterwards, but I assume they probably thought, okay, we're on to something big. This is arguably the greatest sports dynasty of all time.
Yeah, we just got to have this for history's sake.
Yeah, we have to record this for posterity's sake. And it's such a unique look at how Jordan approached the game, how Pippen approached the game, even the nuances of Rodman and how the rivalry with the Pistons in the 90s and everything. And I'm astounded by how competitive Jordan was and how much
he's a psycho.
He really is. He would, I think he was quoted, he was like, I'm going to win no matter what. I don't care how many people I have to step over to do it, how many people I piss off, whatever I do,
It's funny win. People make fun of him for his gambling habit, and it's like, what do you expect? He's the most competitive person on the face of the earth.
The man's like a multi-billionaire, and he just has this deep-seated need to just win all the time. And it shows, too. I mean, crazy. Arguably the greatest player of all time. So I'm not going to get into a LeBron versus Jordan debate here. But it
is funny whenever people talk about Jordan, they get really defensive because you'll get some people who they'll bring up LeBron, and I feel like they just bring up LeBron just to be trolls.
Yeah.
And then people get so defensive and angry about Jordan. Every Sunday I see a debate, and it's like, well, LeBron wouldn't do this, and Jordan did this, and blah blah blah. And it's just it's a fun debate.
What gets me is, Jordan might not have some of the stats that LeBron has or some of the stats of some of the overall greats do, but, I mean, he puts up points per game. Obviously, he averages 32 points a game or 33 points a game in the regular season. But he had this, thing that he could do to just take over a game, and he could will his team and himself to win. At the last 5 minutes of the game and if the Bulls were down, you knew it was pretty much over because Jordan was going from 110 to 140%, and he would win the game single-handedly.
And I think that's what makes him even more impressive. And watching the documentary showed me those because I didn't really watch. I remember his Wizards years, but I've watched old Bulls highlights, but not much. I haven't seen much of him play, so most of what I know about him is just what I hear, and then the little bits and pieces I see. But it really made me realize his greatness because of how much better he made everyone else. I mean, he did both. I'm taking control and I'm doing this all myself at times, but also he passed the ball. He played defense. He inspired everyone down through the bench to play better, to practice harder.
Yeah.
Jackson coached better. It was so inspirational. And I think that really goes into even more so, you talk about Kobe, you talk about LeBron, you talk about any Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, any of the greats. Jordan, I think, is the only one that had that complete skill set mixed with competitiveness, mixed with the inspiration.
Yeah.
Did he do it the right way? I don't think so because I don't like how he went about yelling and screaming and all that at his teammates. I think personally, I don't think it's a good way to lead, but
yeah, I think.
But it worked.
Probably some players needed that type of thing because he had such a competitiveness that was so far above everybody else on his team or even players of his generation or in that 90s time frame.
Yeah, that worked then. That's what I was going to say. That would not work now.
No, it wouldn't work now, but for what it was back then, it was exactly what needed to happen in order for the Bulls to succeed. There was no way he was going to get the best out of Rodman or even the best of some of the other players like Charles Oakley or Tony Kukoc or who was Steve Kerr or something. He would tell players hey, Steve Kerr is open. Go give him the ball. And he shot 5 threes in the last the second half of the game.
He's kind of like a player coach.
Yeah, and he was so inspirational in the sense that he wasn't just a one-dimensional player. He was a good teammate too, and he had good sportsmanship. I love when they're talking about Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons.
They're bashing Isaiah Thomas in that documentary.
But I kind of agree with Jordan too. The Pistons beat the Bulls twice in the last 2 years in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Bulls still went over, shook their hands, said, "Hey, nice game," blah blah blah. soon as the Pistons lost, I mean, that kind of showed an element of lack of class from the Pistons. Of
I think that was
just walking off
thing,
the court
though.
and not saying anything. And
that was the whole Pistons like mantra. They're the bad boys, and I think that I don't know. I wasn't as offended as everyone else was. Well,
I wasn't offended. I just I think that's
you know how passionate people got. And they're like, "Oh my god, that's terrible!" And I saw a bunch of people on Twitter like getting all up in arms, and I'm like, but they were hammering guys. People would be up in the air and they'd push them down and try to injure them. Like, are you that surprised they're not going to shake someone's hand afterwards?
Was kind of a dirty player, too.
Oh, the whole team was. Rodman.
The whole player.
They had Rodman.
Yeah, that's true, Rodman. Yeah, before he went on his crazy, weird
he was
thing.
Well, they had, like, prime Rodman.
Yeah.
But got to remember, prime Rodman was even more hustle.
He won 2 championships with them, right? 2 or 3? Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 5 rings. Or
no,
4.
7.
No, because he wasn't there for all the Bulls ones. No, he has.
Did he win? Shoot. He was there for all the Bulls.
5.
Maybe he's got 5. I don't know.
Yeah, because the Bulls won 91. Because he's on the Spurs in between.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So because the Bulls won 91, 92, 93.
I love the deep seated hatred that Jordan has for Isaiah Thomas and all of the Pistons, and they still hold that to that day. It's like it's great. It's a great like rivalry, and that's what rivalries should be about. Is like they hate each other. They don't care what happens afterwards or before. It's just they just absolutely detest each other. And I think that's so well portrayed in the documentary.
Shout out episode 1 of Weekendology. This is why I miss that era, and I think the 2000s we still got that too because. It was just, I don't want to say it's not competitive anymore, but I don't know, man. It's a very different type of competitiveness. And I really do, I'm on board with all the old people that say,
all the old people.
I mean,
the boomers.
The boomers, that say, it's because they weren't making anything back then. And I think it's true, they were
Jordan was making $36 million a year, and at that time, that's like
he wasn't making $36 million a year.
Yeah, he I think it right at the end of like that last.
Not
dance,
just with basketball, maybe his endorsements and stuff.
I think he wanted like $36 million.
He was not making $36 million a year.
Yeah, that's what he wanted. Jerry Krause wasn't going to give it to him.
Oh yeah.
So that's why he was like, okay, I'm breaking up the team then because like I can't afford all of this, and I think they renegotiated and Jordan went down for his contract. But that's initially like he was like, yeah, I think I want like $36 million or something. So, which is insane.
Yeah, they don't even pay that today.
Yeah.
Like, dang. No,
maybe Jordan's ego was too big, though. Maybe it was like, I'm the greatest.
But why wouldn't you? Like, and that's where I'm not a Jordan fan. I appreciate what he did, and I really like what he did for the game because he obviously...
Do you not like him as a player or as a person?
As a person.
Okay.
As a player, I mean, whatever, he's great, Same with LeBron. Love him as a player, can't stand him as a person. But... I appreciate what they did, but I don't know. I don't blame him for being who he is in a sense because, you're the greatest of all time. You're this cultural icon, blah, blah, blah. But, okay, Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson was arguably the greatest of all time when he was in his prime. He wasn't like that.
True.
They won championships. He inspired Kareem. He inspired James Worthy. He inspired Pat Riley. I mean, you think about that, you compare those, and this is why, I'm not the biggest Jordan fan in the world, because I really appreciate what Jordan did, but stack it up to these other guys, it's very similar.
Well, if you think about it, like Kobe was kind of the same way, too. He was kind of a jerk and, just pushing forward.
And look,
LeBron was kind of a jerk as well.
And they all broke down. Well, I will give credit.
All went on to be,
But I'll give credit to LeBron, though. He is a much better teammate. A team has never broken down because he's gotten guys mad or he's never stirred the pot. It's just been he's left because he was like, I'm sick of doing this on my own. Well, I think is wrong for him too because, dude, be a competitor, stay with your team.
Yeah.
But Jordan, I think he did it. I'm not going to fault him for how he led because, like I said, he did it with the right group of people and they listened to him. I think because he was so great. But... I mean, man, look at the Wizards. Like, that didn't work.
Well, he came back. He shouldn't have come back anyway. Like, if he would have not retired for baseball for those 18 months or something, they would have won 8 championships in a row. And I think that, after that, he would have stayed retired.
Yeah.
Fully. Like, he wouldn't have come back for the Wizards at all. And he was like 40 years old when he came back for the Wizards too.
He was still good though.
I mean, he was still good.
That's what people
like,
forget. Like he wasn't prime Michael Jordan, but he's 40.
Yeah.
He was still very good, and I would say, well deserving of an All-Star.
Yeah.
But I just think that really showed. You got to remember, 98 to 2001, 3 years. Yeah. The difference between 37 and 40
he's
is
not playing, and I don't know. I don't know.
I just think he had the perfect situation for having Pippen, having Rodman, having that well-rounded team.
Yeah.
Look, he didn't do it in the 80s before Pippen got there.
No, he couldn't though, because he had nobody around him too. So I think, but you can't.
But that's the thing. He needed someone around him, and this is why, I'm just so torn on this because I don't want to start bashing him, but it's interesting to me how.
But look at how well he did before, Pippen came along. He was still the best player in the league, even his rookie year. If he was tearing it up.
He didn't get him to the finals.
Well,
LeBron got the Cavs to the finals in 2007.
Yeah,
when he was 21.
I'm not disputing.
I'm just saying,
yeah,
that's a thing where I think some of this gets a little overrated. I'm not saying he's overrated, but I'm saying the story becomes so this thing of legend, and it becomes so glamorized. And I think, okay, but look at these different players in history, and what they've accomplished is very similar. I think
I'm not disputing that. Yeah,
he's more the cultural icon, and he really changed the game and took it to a whole new generation and everything like that. But
if you look at the way he played and the way he was able to, just carry a team, so to speak, I think his play speaks for itself. Regardless of whether he could have done it by himself.
I guess
or
my
not.
main point here is it's the team instead of Michael Jordan. The 90s Bulls needs, and he said it himself.
Yeah.
He said there's no Michael Jordan without Scottie Pippen. And that's so true because people pay attention to the 90s Bulls. And I think that's exactly right. If you put Jordan on any other team, he wouldn't be Michael Jordan.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'd put him on any team, and they would build around him, given enough time.
You think they would do they have a three-peat?
Yeah, I think so. If you put him on any other team, put him on.
I just think, why didn't they do it before then? Why didn't they do it in the 80s? Whole 80s, they didn't win.
I don't think they had a structure. They didn't have I don't remember who the coach's name was.
They didn't have
time.
Phil Jackson. They had Doug Collins.
They had Doug Collins. They didn't have Phil Jackson, so it could be coaching too.
Pippen. They
needed the coach
Michael
too.
Jordan.
Phil Jackson is arguably the greatest coach of all time too.
Oh, for sure. And I think too he deserves a lot more credit because people rip on him and say, well, he had Shaq and Kobe. Well, he had Jordan and Pippen. Well, yeah, he made those guys work together too. That's really tough. And that's another thing I'm really glad the documentary pointed out is how they got them to work as one.
Mm-hmm.
But just think about that though. Why, if he could have done it, then why didn't he do it? He had Scottie Pippen and he had a good coach in Doug Collins. Why didn't he win until 91?
How long was Pippen with Jordan before they won the first one? 2 years?
He's drafted in 87, so 4 years.
4 years, okay. I don't know.
I just think that's interesting. People don't bring that up.
I think that there was they still didn't have, maybe their chemistry wasn't right until Phil Jackson came along.
Yeah, it takes time.
And maybe they didn't really know how to play with each other, or maybe the Pistons were really just that good. They were so much better. Because every time that they went up against them, Jordan you could be the greatest player of all time, but you could have not be the best team ever.
See, I think is just that perfect formula of, they had Charles Oakley and then they went to Dennis Rodman, so they still had that guy to, defend in there, bruise in the paint. Pippen, I think, found his game more, so I think that part is right. But Kerr coming in, Kukoc coming in.
Yeah, you had such
they had
a
all these
great
different styles
supporting
of play.
cast for everybody that it was a perfect storm. But we could argue 6 ways to Sunday on.
It's just a weird debate for me because I am really on both sides of the fence where I think he's the greatest player of all time, going off of stats and how his leadership worked then. But I think it's it's in a vacuum, because I really think if you put him in a different era, if you put him on a different team, you wouldn't see that. Whereas I think there's other players, if you switched them around, they would still be good. I'm not going to say they're the greatest of all time, but they would still be more of what you
I'm on
know
the other
as.
side. I'd say if you put him on any era or any other team, Jordan would still dominate and he'd be fine. So, but it's a phenomenal documentary. I think everyone should check it out. It's blowing up.
So if you put
everywhere,
him on the Heat back then, he'd do okay.
Yeah, he'd be fine.
Him and Baby Jordan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone would be fine.
Harold
so.
Miner.
He would lead the league.
Very biased opinion you got there, Mr. Chicago.
I'm just saying, like,
drinking
arguably,
the Kool-Aid, watching the documentary.
In my opinion, I've always been a Jordan fan. I've always thought he was the best ever, just from watching old footage from him and seeing how he played and seeing the stats that he put up and seeing everything that he was able to do. And he had this will to just make it happen. And,
but so did Kobe.
And influence people. But Kobe was never on another team either, so we'll never know.
But why is Kobe not the greatest of all time then?
I just think Jordan had more of like an influence on the game itself, and he was able to impact how other people played and how the game is like how the game itself is played.
Like
too.
more of a leader.
Yeah, he is more of a leader and everything, and I think it all culminates into kind of one thing. So Jordan had it all. Kobe was really close. LeBron is like they're always going to be 1, 2, 3, or 4 in my opinion. So.
I just think, man, LeBron, the part that people don't give him credit enough for is his body.
Oh, the dude's a machine.
He is.
He's like a Terminator, so.
It's crazy people don't talk about that more. Just how big he is and seeing him in person play, that is something I think is historically, like 50 years from now, we'll be talking about him.
He went through an evolution, too.
And I hate the LeBron love fest, so I'm just going to put that out there, too. I'm not one of these, I love LeBron so much.
A big, stocky player, and then he leaned out, and he got quicker, but maintained his strength and everything, which I thought was a very intelligent move from his end to just recognize, okay, I have to get quicker. The same way how Jordan recognized he was too lean and had to build some muscle. That's what the mark of a great player is. You know, you don't just stay where you're at. You adapt, and you get better. So, it's a great debate. I think it'll probably last for all of time, and I don't know, maybe somebody else will in like 50 years will come along and we'll say, okay, well, this dude's better than Jordan. No way, you're crazy.
Zion.
Yeah, I don't know. Zion's going to be a bust. So, but staying on the topic of basketball, we're moving to more of the college area with NCAA. There's been a big kind of, I guess, issue for the NCAA with its continual loss of top-tier recruits. It was overseas at first, with players finding their ways to make money to go pro before entering college. But I think the whole Jalen Green situation before or now that's coming out with him going to the NBA's G League development program has put in a lot of debate of, okay, why is the NCAA not attracting these top-tier talents anymore? And how are they going to, I guess, recover from this? So I think that's what, that's the issue here.
Yeah. I saw that on ESPN yesterday. They were talking about that. Stephen A. And
Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith. Now let me just start this.
Let me just start real quiet and then
build
it up.
Now, first of all, when you look at players, going to the G League, I think it is a threat. But this has always been a threat. Brandon Jennings went to Europe. He skipped college. He went to Europe, played for a year, and then got drafted by the Bucks. So, and he was amazing. And people forget this. That's the thing. People's memories are weird because things like this have happened. Europe's always been an option. I understand that, it's harder for these guys to go that route and go play internationally, but that's been on the table. So I really don't see this becoming this big thing that the NCAA has to really worry about.
I think people are freaking out about it because they don't have that marquee player for the NCAA to lead them through the season, like a Zion or
because they're one and done
or something like that. Yeah, I think is dumb anyway. Like you should, if you're going to have players in the league, you should force them to do 2 years of college, or don't have that rule that they have to go to college at all and just have them go straight to the NBA.
Yeah.
And then I think you're seeing other avenues like the G League development program where they can go and earn $500K at 18 years old. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that? Like, that's exactly what I would do if I had the talent.
That's like what they're not going to college.
No,
we ain't going to play school.
No, they're not.
Like,
you really think Zion's really going for the academics or something? Like, no, he doesn't care about that. He's going so he can pivot himself into a pro league then. And people are freaking out though about it.
But interesting. So the hammer just dropped, and they're going to start paying for the likeness.
I did, yeah. So I did want to talk about that too.
Don't you think that people will go to college now because if you're good enough, you can build your brand? Whereas you go to the G League, you're a minor league player. People are going to forget about you. You know, I don't think people will. It'll be interesting because I just think people won't watch you as much as opposed to people watch college sports. People watch Duke.
Yeah.
They watch North Carolina. They watch Louisville. If you go to those schools, you're going to get so much more exposure, so much more endorsement opportunities as opposed to a G League.
It depends on how the G League is branded and how it evolves over time too. You know, is it a true stepping stone to getting promoted?
But it's been around for 20 years and it's never been that way.
But I think it's revamped quite a bit in the last couple years in the NBA.
But are you going to watch G League games?
I've
been to some in person.
If there's some if more top level recruits from college go straight into the G League, you know, I have a chance of watching Jalen Green right before he's able to be promoted up to, I don't know, wherever he goes. I'd probably go and watch that.
Well, I'll give you this. Baseball. You can go just right to the minor leagues. You get drafted, go to the minors, or you can go play college. Guys still go play college. They still, want to go to the College World Series and, do that whole thing. Other guys just go straight to the minors and go that route. It hasn't affected NCAA baseball at all. The NCAA baseball isn't dying because the minors are scooping up the players.
College basketball is arguably more popular than college baseball, and I also think it depends on how much money's involved too. Like if you get a whole lot more money off of your likenesses and image, and you do have the chance to build your brand more,
right? Then
college is obviously that viable choice. But again, it depends on how the G
But that's
League
how
evolves.
I think it'll go, where you'll see, the Zions of the world, where it's like, okay, this kid is just primed for the NBA. He's ready. But they're going to think, okay, if I go to the G League, then I'm in, that's great. I'm making $500,000, but how many endorsements are you really going to make? You're making a good base salary. Yeah. But if you go to college, you're building that brand for a year, just a year. And then, or let's say they change the rule and it's 2 years. Then you do it for 2 years. That's 2 years. You've built your brand. You got Nike on board or whoever you want on board.
Yeah.
Then you get a higher draft pick. You're getting drafted.
So, for the G
you're
League,
doubling your money.
Do you get a chance to get promoted to the NBA later on then? Get called up?
It's a minor league. It's exactly like AAA baseball.
Okay.
Or the AHL. It's the same exact thing.
I mean, I guess there's two sides of the argument too, but you could go immediately into the G League, make your $500K for 1 year. Jalen Green gets the experience and the game time he needs, does really well, gets called up and gets signed to a multi-million-dollar contract. So,
but I just think they're not giving enough time. I like the rule. I like that guys are taking that, taking advantage of it. They should, but I just don't think all of them are going to rush. And there was a guy.
I don't think it's as serious as all the people think.
Well, and there was a guy. I forget his name. He worked for New Balance. And so he didn't go to college. He just interned with New Balance, and then he trained at their facilities. So he had a New Balance endorsement, built that for a year, made his money, did his internship, got drafted, still first round. So I think, like I'm saying, and he didn't go to Europe. He stayed home, all that good stuff. The option's always been there, So it's just,
right.
I think we'll see some lose out. But I'd be hard-pressed to find this huge wave of guys saying, I'm just going to go play in the G League, skip college altogether, because they know those endorsements are there.
I think people are worried about the NCAA's talent pool being watered down for college basketball. They don't want to see hardly any stars within the league itself, or I think that's what they're afraid of. Do you think that's a possibility that it could?
No, because I think the stars will still go to college. I think they're still going to go because they're concerned about. I think you're going to see guys less concerned about, I want to play for this school to win a national championship. I think it's going to be more, I want to play for this school so I can build my brand and get my endorsements, get my money, and get myself out there because I'm going to the NBA next. They're going to be looking at that. Not to say that they're not going to be competitive and try to win. Obviously, that's going to be the case. But I think you're going to start seeing that. And I think that's why the NCAA changed that rule. Because they knew, they're like, okay, guys are just going to go play in the G League. We need to find a way for them to get paid.
And the NCAA has been criticized as not being very innovative and very stagnant in that regard.
It was a long,
I think
long
it's
time coming.
about time that some of the some of the college athletes, they get paid for their efforts. I have my own opinions on full payments and everything. Like, you get a free scholarship, that's essentially payment for yourself.
Listen to our old episode.
But when you're getting into the realm of, okay, being a huge icon for the school and being able to, like, you should be able to get paid for, like, likenesses or, like, sponsorships and stuff like that, because that's outside of school. Like, you're not part of that.
And you earned it.
That's a business opportunity. It's basically
and
like a side job.
And how many guys are doing that?
Yeah.
2, 1?
I could, if I was in college, I could go get a side job, and make some money. So it's essentially the same thing, just on a grander scale.
Right.
So
I just think, colleges, it's not going to matter, because it's not like the whole team is going to be just raking in the dough. Like, there's going to be at most 3 guys that have legitimate, endorsement opportunities on a team.
I think it's an interesting conversation topic, and it's a good debate too.
I just don't see how all these kids would say, I'm going to go play in the minor leagues, where I'm sorry, no one's going to watch. Like, you might watch a little more G League, but it's minor league sports. No one's going to go watch the G League more so than the NCAA.
Jalen's just
college basketball.
He's going to get promoted to whatever senior team next year. So
it's
a jump on just making some extra money. I guess right off the bat.
That's good. Yeah. I think he's doing the right thing. I think if you have that opportunity and you could go right in, that's great. That way you're in. But he is skipping out on building his brand more, and I think you're going to see other guys look at that situation and say, well, I could do what he did, but also, what if you go in the minors and you're hurt? Then, you're stuck in the minors. Whereas you go to college and you get hurt, you still can get
have
drafted.
A couple more years.
Yeah, you can surpass
your draft pick or
the minor leagues.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic, so I'm not sure.
Because it's really like going the baseball route.
Yeah.
I think. Like, if you go straight into the minors, okay, now I have to get through the minors and prove myself to get to the bigs.
Right.
Whereas if I go to college and kind of use that as my minors, it's different, and you're not going to be stuck there.
At the end of the day,
you're going to get out. You're going to get drafted.
Half a dozen of the other. It just depends on where the most money lies. At the end of the day, does the G League offer more money, more opportunity, or does the NCAA with his likeness?
Have you been to a G League game?
Never, but
I can't. And this is why I say this. I cannot imagine huge sponsorships like sponsoring those guys, because it's a family atmosphere. Like, this is for fun. This is cheap. That's how they get people to go.
Well, I'm just saying that just depends on how the NBA kind of brands the G League going forward, with some of more of the top tier prospects going to the G League ahead of college. So if they do it positively and they really build the G League's brand out and make it almost like an NBA 1.5, then maybe it has potential. But if they keep it as the black sheep of the family like they've always done, then they probably won't go anywhere, and college will probably still trump everybody else.
They've definitely done a lot better, because like, it used to be a big joke. Like, they were playing in gyms, now they actually are playing in arenas.
Yeah, they've got actual arenas now.
But
so. Remember when Willie Reed was in the G League?
Yeah, the Reno Bighorns.
Player. Yeah, he was on like 9 different teams or something. So
he bounced around.
I don't know what he's doing now, but he's like G League like phenom. Just
hey,
pro of the G League.
Props to him. He made it. That's incredible for him to make it after like just working out and not playing collegiate basketball for years.
There you go. So, but if you like what we talked about in this episode of What's Trending and you want to continue the conversation afterwards, hit us up on Twitter, YouTube, and all other social media. Let us know what your thoughts are as well. Are aliens real? Where does the NCAA go from here? And are you enjoying The Last Dance? Let us know in the comments down below. Tweet at us. We're at Weekendology Pod. Follow us on YouTube. We're at Weekendology Podcast. Check out our mini-series on post-pandemic changes coming to sports, society, and more.
Give us your hate Because I know there'll be hate after these opinions.
Give us all your hate, Tell us, like, oh, my God, LeBron is much better than Jordan. Or throw us a curveball in there and be like, say, like, I don't know, Larry Bird's the greatest of all time. Or,
that's the worst. I hate those people.
Gary Payton's better than all of them or something. I've seen some weird ones. And I don't know. Sometimes I think they're trolls. And sometimes I'm like, I think they're serious. And they have something wrong with their head. So who knows? But don't forget to check out our sponsor, too, Lionfish Promotions, for all of your promotional and PPE needs. Their website, they're on Facebook. They have an email listed below as well. And don't forget to check out Big Red World. We're always in collaboration with them. They're on Twitter at Big Red World, or Big Red Social, and their website is bigredworld.org. So we have new episodes every Friday. So till then, we'll see you guys next time.